Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I'm going to make molasses bread. Now, the original recipe is talking about a dinky little, a loaf like that big. Well, I'm not. I'm going to do a 1 pound loaf. I'm using a 1 pound loaf pan, which is 8 by 4. And that's what I'm using to make this. And I'm going to double this recipe up. Now, before we get started, it's very difficult for me to find these, but these are currants. I'm going to get you just one so you can see how small they are. These are tiny, tiny little currants. I had 3 plants in the backyard. My neighbor put up a fence and I lost 2 of my currant plants, so I've only got 1 left. These have a slightly different taste than raisins. If you cannot find currants because they're seasonal, you sit there and take raisins and you're going to be chopping them up into fine little pieces. But there is a difference between the raisin and the currant. It's a mild difference, but it does make a difference in what we're trying to make. So I'm going to double this recipe, and I have no idea if this is even going to work, but I'm not going to make a teeny little loaf, and my family will not tolerate it, okay? So you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and you're going to grease and line a loaf pan, an 8 by 4. All right, for those of you that want to make the smaller line, just cut this whole recipe down and know that you'll be using a 6.5 by a 3 3/4 inch, and I'm not doing that. Yes, it is. It is, well, let's see, it is 6:35. It's morning, and I've been up for a while. Okay, now where did I put it over here? Now, in a bowl, I have already added 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour. All right, and we're going to be adding 1/2 cup too. Well, just stick with me on this, okay? We're going, I don't need this one, I need this one. We're going to add 2 cups, and I'll give you the rest of the measurement because I'm going to be changing this recipe around to make a larger loaf, okay? We need 2 cups of all-purpose added to that. And that'd be 1, 2. Yeah, we're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose. Sorry. It's going to be 3 cups. Yeah, it's going to be a big loaf. Yeah, it should fit. As you can see, panic's going to hit right about now. See if it's going to work. All right. So we have a 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour and 3 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm doing the math while I'm doing this. Okay. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. I am not making inky dinky little loaf. I can see my family look at me and say, I could eat this in 1 shot. You know, that's how my family is. They're big eaters. What can I say? Molasses bread. All right. Okay, that's going to be... 1 teaspoon of allspice. You're not going to fit. So I'll do it this way. See, when I was growing up, they said we couldn't get currants. They would always sit there. I'm using the microwave right now. All right, you're going to need a whole teaspoon of ground ginger. What's next on this? Okay, we'll be adding that next. Okay. We're going to need 10 tablespoons of butter. Oh, right here. All right, I've got 8 here. I've got to add 2 more. you can sit there. I gotta mix this up first. So you'd have to be coming to. Made some Danish butter cookies yesterday and they came out nice. Oh, Danish butter cookies are very nice indeed. Look, Sandra, you gotta take care of things in this house. Now you can use your fingers, but my butter, like I said, frozen. I'm always freezing my butter. But if your butter is room temperature, by all means, they want it crumbly is what you're doing. And they said into fine. Yes, 10 tablespoons. You can use your hands if your butter is room temperature. Mine is not. That's why my box grater is so bent. But I learned the easy way. This is not a cake. This is actually a molasses bread we're making. Yeah, I know I'm going to have to do that. Stern, where do you want the sugar to go in? All right. Now, the reason I'm mixing this up, let me turn you down now. I'm not even showing you what I'm doing. No occasion. I am just making this. I try to keep food around, nice things around for my family. And I still have to feed my yeast. And oh, I am going to make a sourdough bread that everybody makes with regular yeast. I haven't taken a look at the yeast that I'm making. We'll see how it comes out. I'm going to give it a little longer because my kitchen's a chilly kitchen. And the reason I'm mixing the butter up is so it doesn't stick together. Flour will prevent that. All right, so we'll get another bowl. I'm done here. All right, now they want me to add the currants and raisins. We're using both currants and raisins in this, and they want me to add it after I mix it together. But I know if I mix it together, they're going to sink to the bottom, and that's not what we want to do. Oh, so many people have asked me to make a restaurant, but the metropolitan area is notorious with so many problems, and I'm not going to do that. It's just as simple as that. I won't do it. By the time they get done, they take all the fun out of cooking. And they come and inspect, and you give them money under the table if they find something, and they'll look for something, and they probably say, you can't do that. I said, it's my kitchen, watch me. You know, that's my attitude. Like my girlfriend says, don't double dip, Sandy. Well, I said, look, if I'm feeding my family and I double dip, don't get pissed. I'm testing. I'm not cooking for somebody else. When I'm cooking for somebody else, I don't double dip. You know, that's just the way it goes. I hope all of you had a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas and everything else. Now we're going to, I know they told me not to do it now, but I'm going to do it. We need 2/3 of a cup of currants. Now, if you're using raisins, you've got to chop them really, really small. I bought every currant bag they had in the store. And they didn't even know what currants were. I went back and said, do you have more currants? And he said, we don't sell currants here. I said, that's funny, I bought them here. So they had to look it up, and sure enough, but they're seasonable from my store. I'll probably have to go to Shahadi's, because they always have currants, and go into their store. And I haven't seen, you know, anybody in a long time. I'm sure his son now has taken over the business. All right, we got 2/3 of a cup of currants in here, and we need 2/3 of a cup of golden raisins. When I pull a golden raisin out, I'll show you, you can actually see the difference. Raisins are sweeter. The currants have sort of a tartness to them, and sweetness sort of combined. That's why I'm always trying to find them. But let's take a raisin just to show you. Let me get a little tiny currant. Oh, let me get one. See the difference on them? There is really a big difference. Now we need how many? 2/3, I said. Now they wanted me to use a very lightly salted butter. So because I don't have that, I am going to add some butter. Now I know this is over in Europe. You probably used flaky salt. So I'll use flaky salt to give a mild salt flavor to it. Because I do not use lightly salted butter. Okay, so we'll have to put butter in separate from this. And since I've got my mixture, I lightly salted. And maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. If you have salted butter, just leave that step out. Okay. Let me get my fork. I love my fork. I use my fork all the time. So we're going to mix this up and make sure that the fruit is thoroughly coated. If we don't, we're going to have a problem. Everything will sink to the bottom, and that's not what we want. And I've seen a lot of people who make muffins, and everything they put in the muffin is always sunk down to the bottom because of that. Put that to the side. We'll get another bowl. We are going to need 4 eggs. Remember, when recipes call for eggs, they're talking about extra large. Okay, we're going to need, let's see, we're going to need 1/2 cup of buttermilk. I had to make buttermilk, I ran out. And this buttermilk is like 3 years old. The culture, I bought it one time. I've been making it ever since. Okay. Add this. You want me to beat this together? Okay, Sandra. Okay, come on out. And we are going to add, now that I did this, what do you want me to do next? All right, you can use light or dark brown sugar. I am using my light brown. And we are going to need, how much of this? Hold on. We're going to need 1 cup. So as you can see, this is going to be very, very sweet. It's a tea bread, literally. Remember to pack it tight. Okay, so we've done that. And we're going to need also 6 tablespoons of molasses. One. Let's see, 3/4. That should be a little over 1/3. I know 1/3, so 6, it's not a half. Well, anyway, I'll do it this way. If you're low in iron, a tablespoon of molasses at breakfast and at supper, your iron will get back up there in a hurry. I know this is the boring part, waiting for it to come out of the spoon. 5. I better put a tray under this just in case. Yeah, Sandra put a tray under it when you put it in the oven. I'm taking a look and saying, I don't know. I'll clean that up after. You know, children used to eat the dough off the beaters when I was young and stuff. They're saying all of this stuff, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, it's going to kill you here. We all grew up. I don't know how, you know, if we've been doing this for so long, it didn't kill us. That tells you how poor the diets are. People can't handle it, you know? I know they gave us the beaters all the time, you know, my brothers and I. But if they were outside playing, I got the beaters with the batter on it. I don't know how long this is going to take. They say an hour, and I'm not going to hold the phone for an hour, so I'm going to let you know, because it might take longer because I'm doubling this recipe. But I am not going to make something that small for my family. That's why they pulled the camera way up close to it. Now, see, if you use the dark brown sugar, this would look like black instead of brown. All right, now that we've done all of that, yeah, I know how to do that part. Yeah, okay. Do you want me to beat this or just mix? All right, they want you to mix it with a fork, gradually drawing the flour from around the edges. So we're making a well just like we do when we make muffins and stuff. the hunting camp, my mother couldn't bring all the dishes and stuff. If we did any baking, we had to sit there and use our hands as this, you know, the mixing. This is going to be big. Now, baking soda rises as soon as moisture hits it, whereas baking powder that you buy in the store has a retarder till the heat hits it. You want this mixed all the way? Okay. I'm trying to get the bottom flour mixed. Okay. So you have to line it. I really want to cut this. You know, I might make 2 of these the way I'm going. We'll see. Because it doesn't look like it really rises either. Yeah, I know you're falling. I'll get you. Get everything sooner or later. I think this is a dense bread. I could be very, very wrong. For the way it's acting, I would say it's a dense bread. But it doesn't look like it rises very much. Now, they say use a wet spatula, level it off. Now I want to cut some of this off. Now this, like I said, is I'm going to put it in the oven. And they want it to cook for 45 minutes. I think mine might cook a little longer. I'm going to have to test it with a toothpick to make sure it comes out. I'm not sure if this will even work. Oh, blueberry muffins are my favorite. We are making molasses bread, but I'm going to put a pan underneath this just in case it takes off. But it shouldn't, because I know baking soda only works as soon as liquid hits it. So we're going to see. But anyway, let me get it in the oven. Okay. 1 hour, that'll be 8 o'clock. Okay, pray. Listen, I'm going to have to cut this off because you'll be waiting a whole hour and that doesn't make sense. If it comes out, I will definitely do a second live and show you what it looks like, or maybe if it's done, I might just sit there and put it into a short so everybody can see it. And for those of you who periodically come on and don't know where the recipes are, I put shorts out and they sit there and people like it, but they say you don't give the recipe. What I do is I make the recipe, and then the end of it, I make the short so you can see what it looks like. And then all you have to do is look for the recipe by the same name as the short, and you'll find those recipes. So listen, you take care, and I'm going to know in an hour and a half if that works, okay? Take care for now. Bye-bye.